Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Play Depth Hunter 2. I'm your host, Senior Scary Bagels. Once again with me is, actually, Anton.
Yep.
So how are you doing today?
Well, I'm nice. Just played a bit of Dark Souls 2, had a bit of pizza, so I'm feeling alright. I'm gonna look at this game that I really don't want to look at anymore.
Well, just make this is gonna be the last time you have to look at it with me.
Well, looking at it with you is the least of, I guess, the least evil thing, because I have to constantly play these missions and test stuff, and that's a bit more annoying than just kind of commentating, because commentating is actually kind of fun. And I get to rant, which I cannot rant to my boss exactly, because I don't think he would appreciate that very much.
No, I don't think so either. Right now we are looking for pieces to a doorway. Or is it supposed to be a doorway, or is it just supposed to be like a mural of some sort?
Yeah, it's just like a plate. There was actually a door there, but we didn't bother. As a lot of stuff, I think I mentioned that the DLC levels were lifted from another game, the previous one. Well, in that one you had before to collect 4 keys and open a door, and then you would collect the freaking plate pieces and assemble the plate, but we decided that was a bit too much. And yeah, that's... But I guess if we have these resources, that game wasn't released on PC, so why not let people appreciate these locations with actual, I don't know, shadows and good post-processing and stuff, because it looks kind of awful on iPads and iPhones or whatever. I don't like those platforms at all. But yeah, this between I of course I cannot bear to see this game any more than I have to, so I haven't gotten around to watching some of the previous episodes, so I don't know what you thought of the Thistlegorm. But
I really like Thistlegorm's design.
Oh, yeah, apparently I didn't actually know that, but I Google image searched Thistlegorm one time, and it looks a lot like it ended up looking in our game, so that's nice. But I guess most of the credits would go to whoever we outsourced the Thistlegorm model to, because I really doubt that any of our team actually is to credit for that. And oh my god, don't get me even started on Thistlegorm, because it's like the most terrible level for me to have worked on. We had really a lot of terrible ideas about optimization. There's this thing in our engine called zones, and it's like the worst possible thing. It's a rectangular shape you can place, and it catches like meshes, static meshes, by their bounding boxes, and the ones that count as being inside the zone, they are like attached to it, and you set up different zones, and they determine visibility. So like when you set up that you are not in that zone, everything that it touches doesn't render. And the worst part is, well, I don't really want to spend a lot of time explaining that, but the worst part is that it's the same shape you have to use as determining, like, if the player is in the zone. The same shape is that you are using to pick the objects that are affected by the zone. So it's all kinds of terrible, and we just waved our hand and disabled it for this game because we couldn't really get them to work right. The best part is, of course, the mesh of the Thistlegorm, as all meshes in this game and in this engine rather, and the terrain even. In the process of packing the game for like the final build, levels get stitched together first and then cut into smaller parts separately from just the meshes being separate before, like when we press them. So I guess it's a way to make bigger ones helpful for optimization by like distance, so the parts of landscape vanish in the distance and stuff like that. But the disadvantage there is that those pieces are affected by the zones, and you cannot tell how they're going to work in the build that you're using to actually adjust them. So Thistlegorm was fun. I made the zones, I actually made them rather well. Made them rather well, but ended up being that in the final build, like when you zoom into a room and half of its wall just disappears because it got cut into a separate object that ended up in a different zone, and it's just a big mess. But to clear up...
But right now we're
yes.
doing the jigsaw puzzle.
That's fun.
And it takes me a lot of time before I figure out what the hell I'm actually supposed to do.
Well, helpfully enough, I think most of the pieces are kind of rotated actually no, I think that's complete bullshit. Forget I was going to say anything. It's only the first part that was rotated exactly as it ended up being placed. But as I think I wanted to clear something out. Our team is made up of very few people, and the people that it is made out of aren't very experienced in anything they do, apart from like one programmer. And especially at this point right now, the main goal, the main focus of the team is a different project entirely, so not a lot of people are dedicated to the game anymore. So you might think that for such a simple game it's very simple to polish stuff and iron the bugs out and make the missions and stuff, but the disadvantage of using a small team made of inexperienced people is that especially when you're using a proprietary engine, is that the tools are programmed kind of terribly, and the engine and the editor and a lot of other tools aren't really suited well for easy work. So don't be too hard on developers, including myself, of course, when you think, this is a terrible game and such. It's made for like by like 6 people maybe, and some of them, like one of them is a tester, one of them is an artist that just kind of makes the interface, so it's not major contributors. Actually, that's not fair to say, but I mean like the programming part and level design is like 3 people across the entire team that actually do that, so that's yeah. It's actually kind of a marvel, sorry for interrupting you all the time, it's kind of a marvel that we actually, well, I didn't really do any of this almost, but it's kind of a marvel that the team managed to get the game looking as good as it does. But I think this game looks kind of cool.
It does look really cool. I do like the game. One thing I will notice, though, is that unlike Thistlegorm, this one actually does have fishing. I remember in the Thistlegorm levels, there was absolutely no fishing in there.
Well, there are some fish in there, I think. At least
no,
I remember.
Fishing, like, you don't catch any fish in that level.
Oh, that you mean that? Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, those missions, there's been a lot of photographing in the original level, so we transferred most of that. I don't know if you felt anything special about the mission where you salvage stuff, where you have to get like 10 separate types of treasure, but that was one that I made from scratch, and I think it turned out kind of interesting. I don't know, I can't really say how interesting it is for someone who doesn't know where everything is and stuff and how everything looks. Was that good? Was that a good mission?
I thought it was a pretty good mission. It was kind of hard to figure out which items was required to grab, but once I got the hang of what I was needing to look for, it was actually really fun to try to find stuff and think about why those items were particularly being grabbed.
Yeah, that's the items that just kind of picked. We have a huge like base of items, treasures and items that we used in previous game in like hidden object mini games. And I just picked items that were not suited for a ship like that, so that's... And yeah, I was hoping that mission turned out to be kind of fun. And in the ruins here I made after this one, the next mission, in 2 different types of fish, so we'll mention that when we get there in the video. But yeah, that's kinda yeah. And the Thistlegorm, actually, the salvaging mission, I'm not sure at this stage, at this version of the game, when you picked up the items you salvaged, did it say thing each time?
It said item.
Okay, that's better, because I think when I last tested it, it was thing, so you picked up like a radio or a bottle or a frying pan or something, and it's just called thing. And actually...
I don't know what the fuck, it's just a thing.
Yes. Well, these 9 names do have to be translated into like 5 languages. So that was something that was not really worth doing, I suppose, in our boss's eyes. I guess I don't really care too much either. But the interesting part was I really wanted the mission text to actually say like salvage stuff, but apparently that's also against the law. So it had to be like kinda walked around, and I think in the mission text it's called actually treasure, like find 10 pieces of treasure and stuff, or something like that. And we couldn't call the things by their actual names, because that would be kind of like what the boss is usually trying to avoid, like he doesn't let us fish for the fish that usually isn't fished for legally. So yeah, there's that, I guess. But still, it's a game, so I decided that just kind of exploring through that ship and actually looking at stuff would be kind of fun. The ship is actually like, it's apart from a couple things, it's, well, like apart from like the garbage around, in the actual rooms it's like one huge model, so it's kind of interesting looking in the editor. But yeah, that's Thistleworm. Also, I think my favorite thing about this game is the music on Thistleworm. I think it fits really well.
Oh yeah, the music is great in this game. Right now we're getting ready to rebuild these statues.
Oh yes. One of the statues has a really unintuitive part. I'm looking forward to seeing if you...
I think I got that. You told me about that. I think I got that really quickly.
Huh.
I think it was the first statue that actually gave me trouble.
That's kind of strange, because I think this statue is actually kind of easier. You can clearly see the missing parts, but the other statue has that arm, which is made of two pieces. Then the first piece is really counterintuitive. But there are some similar pieces, like the waist level kind of, the lower one of the two that you are switching between there, and there is a similar one. Yeah, this one and another one which you can kind of get mixed. Yeah, I think in this case actually you need the other one. And the arms, but it's no big price if you fail.
Yeah, you just have to run up, get some more oxygen, and then finish it up. Not too bad.
In the previous game where this level originated from, actually you had a limited. You couldn't go on the surface and refill because you used tanks, and I think the oxygen stopped like draining when you were on the surface, but still you couldn't really. So it was in that game actually it was sensitive. Like every loss of oxygen was bad. But then I think for the update that I don't know if it's released finally, but you made it just infinite because whatever. Simpler. But what was I trying to say? I definitely had something to say about this. The oxygen. It's like there's an amusing anecdote actually about oxygen. Our boss monitors the Steam discussions quite well, at least he used to when the game just came out. And there was a guy who kept saying that his mission was ending before, like there was the mission in the first level where you get 5 minutes to just catch whatever. Yeah, by the way, that's the arm that gave me trouble when I first tried this in the other game. So yeah, in that mission the oxygen runs out before the 5 minutes run out. And the guy kept saying that his mission was ending, of course, because he was dying of lack of oxygen. And he didn't tell, well, I don't know, he didn't it wasn't clear from what he said that come on, man. That was what was happening there. How hard can it be to say this? But he actually streamed the game and said, like, developers here, watch and see what's going on and tell me what's wrong. And I got in the stream, I looked, and it was him just running out of oxygen and not trying to refill by going to the surface. And I pointed it out to him as just I logged into the stream chat as a random person. By the way, that's the mission that I made up from scratch for this level. But yeah, that's and I told him to swim to the surface. It was kind of fun. Then he posted in the Steam discussion that some helpful person thankfully helped me out, and it was kind of funny because he had no idea it was one of the developers, and we in the office, it's not very nice, but we were just laughing our asses off at the one person who didn't think of swimming to the surface to get oxygen. So like he didn't know that he was being kind of ridiculed, which it's not very nice, but we couldn't help it really. And then we changed the message to actually say that get to the surface instead of just the oxygen is low, mission is about to end, because apparently it wasn't clear for everyone. So yeah, there's the anecdote. Now this mission, what do you feel about this mission then?
I thought it was fairly interesting the way the fish would change. It was a little bit of a challenge when it was changing to try and find the fish, but I think I did fairly alright in this one. I think I got up to like 13 or 14.
Well, too bad the score doesn't matter at all. It's like whose line is it anyway. Although there was, I think, one of posters on Steam, maybe somewhere else, I don't remember, said like his grandpa liked this game. Or maybe he was the grandpa or something, I don't remember exactly, but he wanted to be able to replay the missions just to beat his high score course, we didn't really implement the high score in any way. It isn't stored anywhere or anything like that, so you can't see what your result was on the missions that give you score, because that's just like a variable that gets completely discarded after mission ends. But still, it's kind of funny as well. And I really agree with that guy. It would be nice to replay some of the missions, but too bad. If you want to do that, you have to go into the directory where the game stores the saves and delete the saves manually. It's like the key rebind stuff, really basic mechanics that for some reason just never really got implemented in the game. Maybe because of a lack of time, or actually all of our programmers at the moment are busy on the other things, so we couldn't probably do that even if we wanted. Our boss can kind of program, but he also is obviously pretty busy with stuff. Okay, oh no, it's just in chat, Skype chat. Oh well, never mind. So yeah, there we go. I don't remember if I had any cool things to say, but I guess maybe the third level, it's way too late for that level but to be mentioned, but still it's... I don't know if you know, there was originally like only 2 missions in that level when the game was released, and we then added the rest of them. The first of the new ones being the one with the blue whale, and it's one of the many other things that should have been very easy to make and weren't, because the blue whale is just swimming past the level boundaries along the waypoints, but the AI builds like a spline. The spline ends up being completely in the wrong place, like not along the waypoints at all, and the blue whale used to just stop and spin in place or try to swim in a different direction from where the actual waypoints were, so it was really terrible. The whale is one of those things that it's an in-joke at this point, because I just buzzed everyone's ears off in the office about how much I hated the fucking whale.
I would like to see that whale spin in place. That would have been funny to see.
Well, yeah, sadly I think I managed to actually make him swim rather fine and without any such bugs, because I couldn't really let that in. But yeah, that was a bit amusing when he was just swimming, then he decided to stop. No, I can't decide where to go. And he just like, there, no, okay, alright, and then he proceeded to swim further. It's really stupid, especially for how big he is. Of course, he's just rotating in place like any other fish. That looked really stupid. The other stupid thing that I really hate, and everyone knows how much I hate it in this game, actually is in the upcoming DLC, which I advise everyone to avoid. I will be honest here, because it was another thing that we had made for a previous game and decided to use. It's basically a really terrible idea. I don't know if anyone will, just like a single person will be interested in that. It's basically a hidden object minigame re-implemented in this one. So it's like 10 static screens with items you can click on, and that's... I mean, I know everyone who plays this game, everyone who likes this game is probably looking for like bigger locations, more stuff to do, and that DLC just goes in completely opposite direction, so I don't know what our boss was really thinking. I guess it's just the thing, we had the levels made and the objects laid across the levels almost, and here's actually the main thing that is like a separate release for iOS, like a really kids game, Scabba Kids I think it's going to be called, but he decided, why not release this DLC for this game as well, even though nobody's probably going to buy it. And I can imagine what some people would be thinking for the DLC with 10 hidden object minigames and a single minigame where you can catch crabs. I don't know, maybe you would be interested in catching the crabs.
I'll be catching all the crabs.
I wonder, maybe the boss will make the DLC really cheap, so if it's like $50, maybe you could buy it and catch some crabs, because the crabs are actually the thing that I hate a lot. They just managed to break at some point between the last game that they won and this one. And there was a lot of stuff we had to fix. Actually, the boss had to fix. I was just like sitting there. He tells me over Skype, I think I fixed this, try it out. I go immediately see that everything is wrong. I tell him, he gets okay, starts fixing it, and I just kick back and start like reading something on the internet for the next hour. And that's how like that whole day went when we were doing that stuff with the crabs. But they were completely not cooperating at all. It's just like a really stupid way to program, because the object that places those crabs, even though they're part of a mini game, is the same kind of object that all fish came out of in this game. So it's like, even though it has completely different settings, like the fish, sometimes an object spawns two fish at once, because well, it could be like didn't want to place two separate objects or whatever. If it spawns out of sight and they swim apart, it's nice, and there's more fish for less objects in the level. But the crabs had to spawn in intervals, so that they're not all walking at you inside each other in a big crowd like that, which looks ridiculous and glitchy. So that took some time for the boss to figure out how to separate the fish logic from the crab logic. But yeah, that DLC is something else.
This goblin shark is a bitch to take a picture of.
Yeah, that's... In the original game, the goblin shark would be... you take a picture of it from a distance, and then it says like, wow, the flash startled the shark, and the shark would attack, and you'd have to punch it 2 times in the face, like all the sharks. Sadly, in this game, sharks are kind of scaredy. Oh, it appears that we are done.
Yeah, we're just about done, actually. Just gonna go through a few things.
Alright, I actually managed to pay attention to the... Well, of course, it's a different side this time, so...
Well,
this time I can actually see the progress bar.
Well, I want to thank you for coming into our last video in the series.
Yeah, no problem. You're welcome.
Next time, we're actually going to be playing another hunting game. But unlike this one, we're going after the most dangerous game of all.
Oh.
You want to know what that is?
Sure.
Man.
Oh, Manhunt. Oh, I get it.
No, not Manhunt.
Oh, well, come on.
Even better.
That would be a great pun if you played Manhunt.
The next game is going to be a one-off. It's going to be JFK Reloaded.
Oh, that thing. I love that thing. Wow. Be sure to make it really funny, because I will hold you to a very high standard. I've seen some funny videos of that.
Terrible. Well, I will see you all next time. Have a great rest of the day. See y'all later. Bye.
Goodbye.